watermelon, papaya, mango. In Thailand we have so much.
So many fruits.
And I always go for a seasonal fruit. So mango, for example, I eat it only in April, May, because it's the season and it's very sweet. So basically, when I had a restaurant and I was preparing all of these dishes, I was the chef. I was cooking in the restaurant. At some point, I was like, it's too complicated. This is not the way it should be.
Welcome to this new episode, and today I am here with Antonio. How are you, Antonio?
I'm very fine, thank you.
Very good.
Very well.
So Antonio has been on the island for a long time and is very well known for being possibly the most established video maker on the island. So he's been making lots of videos for resorts, for events, you name it. And to be honest with you, just before starting this interview, we had a good look at my camera and he gave me some very good tips. So thank you very much for that, okay?
Good improvement.
Yes, but today we are not going to talk about video making, although that could be very interesting for many of you. We are going to talk about something rather different, okay? We are talking about Fruitarianism, okay? Because you've been on this path for quite a while, on and off, we can say.
Yeah.
And now, of course, you are an expert of everything which is being a frugivore, which is not just being a fruitarian, it's being a frugivore. So we're going to talk about it in details, which is very, very interesting for me. But first of all, I like to ask you, it's custom, as we always do, what is your story in life, Antonio?
What do you want to know?
I want to know what is your background, where you're coming from, what are your early life experiences, and what are the main steps in life that define the individual that is sitting in front of me right now?
So, well, I had quite a nice life. I mean, my family is... I've been lucky to have a very open-minded family. They allowed me to do really whatever I felt to do, with, always anyway being... letting me know, okay, be careful if you do this, if you do that, but always allowing me to experience my life and what I wanted to do. And this gave me, the possibility to, just play with life.
Yes, so you're born in Italy and...
in Italy, south of Italy, yeah.
I mean, I suppose up until 18, 19, you went to high school, you had more of a conventional lifestyle, is that right?
Very conventional lifestyle. I quit school actually. I didn't finish the high school.
Okay.
I quit the last year because it wasn't for me. I couldn't...
And you got a job or...?
Yeah, I was I was working in a bakery.
I remember
I was making bread, pizza. I live in a city called Altamura. It's in Italy, it's very well known because it's the city of bread. It's famous all over Italy because of the bread. Even in America, it's famous. You know why? Because there was a McDonald's near a bakery shop, and the McDonald's closed because, of course, people were going mostly to the bakery, and so there was a big news on the paper, on the press, and they made even a movie about that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very famous news in America that the McDonald's closed. So the these kind of things can't survive in our city.
And thanks God for that, artisanal bread making versus like conventional sort of fast food chain. No competition.
No competition. I mean, you really, and also the bakery next to the McDonald's was one of the best in my city. So obviously, you have focaccia, you have panini, you have bread, you have panzerotti, It's
so much culture there as well. But you know, that's an early exposure to food making. You know, we can say that in your life.
Yeah. Then basically after that, I wasn't happy with my job. I just was doing it because I needed money. So I wanted to change. I wasn't really happy. And at some point, I had the opportunity to make a video for my cousin. And so I started to make a video, and for me it felt so easy. It felt like I was playing a video game. And so I was like, wow, I can do this as a profession. So I made a video for him. Then I went to a photographer in my city, and I showed him my creation, and he was like, wow, this is great. You wanna work? So I started working for him. So I was doing 2 jobs in that moment for like a couple of months. And then I was like, okay, now I need to change. I quit working there in the bakery, and I started full job video making. So I started at 18. Very funny, at the same age, I also changed my diet into vegan diet at the same moment. So for me, video making and diet, it's kind of really the major key points of my life.
Okay.
They go together.
And you were a vegan since 18, basically, and that was sort of vegan eating raw and cooked variety of foods.
Cooked,
right?
even processed.
Even processed?
Yeah, I mean processed. Yeah, I mean you go even in milk. It's a processed food, you know.
Yeah, well,
almond milk. It's processed, or I don't know. How do you call biscuits?
Biscuits, yeah. Anything that has ingredients in it is processed.
It's processed.
But then there's the ultra processed, you know, like the Oreo biscuits or the crisps. You know, yes, there are the levels of processing, obviously. Yeah. As we mentioned, artisanal sourdough bread is still processed food technically, but it's very high quality processed food. Whilst and people don't call it processed so much, although it is technically, I suppose. Whilst if you go and get, you know, some of the, you know, the lower end of confectionery markets, you know, some biscuits with 20 different ingredients in
20
them.
if you like it.
And 30 sometimes.
But you know, even making a juice from fruit, it's a process. It's a very healthy process compared to obviously a cookie, but it's still a process.
Yes, so the ideal scenario, of course, is completely unprocessed, is picking the apple from the tree directly and eating it there. Something I experienced recently, I was in Italy now, and it was the end of summer. I had amazing figs and like peaches, apricots, all sorts of things.
I love figs.
Okay, going back to your story. So you were in Italy, working professionally as a video maker, and then, I mean, why did you come to Thailand? Or is there any sort of intermediate step before coming to Thailand?
Actually, it happened. I was very happy with my job with the video making. So basically, when I came to Thailand, I was doing video already for 6 years. So I was doing very well. I was building my studio with my cousin, because he was also a video maker. And then Thailand called me. It was Koh Phangan called me to come here.
What was the link?
Basically, there was a guy in Koh Phangan, Italian guy. He was famous on YouTube to make video about personal growth. I don't know if you know Daniele Penna.
Maybe.
Anyway, he was sharing videos about personal growth, and he was in Koh Phangan, and he was making a website with online courses. So he wanted to make like a library of many online courses, and then for people to kind of get a membership and have access to all the courses. So he was like, he wrote a post on Facebook, and that post changed my life. So because he said, I'm looking for this and this and this, graphic designer and this and that, and video maker. So I just texted him, and we made a call, and after a month and a half, I left Italy. And now I'm here still.
Very nice. So I also know you from an experience that you had maybe 5-6 years ago. I don't remember exactly. I was new to Koh Phangan, and you were working with Sama Karuna, and you set up with some other people the Fruitarian Experience. So at the time you were vegan. You were not fruitarian yet.
When I opened the restaurant, I was fruitarian.
Okay, so you turned fruitarian in Koh Phangan, is that right? So first of all, before you tell us why you set up this restaurant in particular, why did you become fruitarian?
It was a journey. It was not something that just came from nowhere. First started because I started to have intolerance to dairy products.
Oh.
That was when I was 18. So then I changed, I started to read the books, and so I was like, okay, I read the book, completely like shifted my perception of food, and you know, I quit animal products, became vegan, and then I was okay, I was doing well, I was like, okay, I kept vegan diet for a while. Then I met a doctor, and this doctor did a very interesting test. He took a blood from my finger, and then he watched on the microscope, and he was one of the 3 people in Italy that he told me that they do this kind of test.
Okay.
So it was kind of very
special, yeah.
Special, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so he showed me the blood composition, my blood composition, and how like an ideal blood composition. And my blood was completely messy, like the shape of the red, how do you call it?
Red blood cells.
Red blood cells. They were not really round, they were one on top of another. And so he was like, to make the blood better, you need to get rid of a flour product, like flours, so like pasta bread.
Yeah.
So he introduced me to a raw vegan diet. So he told me to eat mostly raw. He gave me a program to follow, and thanks to this doctor, I really like so grateful that I met this doctor. I started to eat raw, and that was in Italy. So then when I came to Thailand, when I saw so much fruit, so much varieties of fruit, I was like, I can just eat fruit. It just came for me like naturally. And then slowly, obviously when I came to Thailand, raw vegan diet was aside because I started to try everything in Thailand, fried rice and pad thai. So I started to eat cooked again. Mm-hmm. But in my mind, that was still my path. I gave myself some time to experience the cuisine, the Thai cuisine, you know. And then I came back to veganism, raw veganism, and then I started to try the fruitarian diet.
Okay, the fruitarian diet, which means that you eat fruit only, but when you think of fruit, it's not just apples and papayas. The nightshades, for instance, are considered as fruits. Yeah, so you have aubergines, peppers, cucumbers. Is that right?
Yeah. So this is one thing. When I started at the beginning, I was eating all of these. So we call like veggie fruit, let's say. So pumpkin, eggplant, red pepper, yellow pepper, aubergine, cucumber, tomato, all of these. At that moment, I was eating, now not anymore,
okay.
But when I started, I was even eating cooked fruit.
Because technically still fruit.
Yeah, so I was cooking eggplant and make nice sauces. I was still eating oil. So it was a very early stage of fruitarianism.
Yeah, because I mean olive oil from the olive fruit.
Yeah, but it's very fat. But at that moment, I was fine. I was the beginning.
Okay, because there are basically within the fruitarian sort of landscape, you have different types of fruitarianism, right? Because when you opened the restaurant, to go back to that, I remember you were making some cooked food. You were using quite extensively the pumpkin, for instance, etc.
I was using mainly veggie fruit.
So before we go into sort of the different types of fruitarianism, why did you set up the restaurant? What was the idea there?
So because I started to eat fruit, and in this way, I was making recipes. You know, I was still in this kind of. You know, also being Italian, it's kind of in our DNA, you know.
Cooking, yeah, for sure.
So I was having fun, and I was like, when I was eating with friends and invite them to try what I was preparing, they were like, this is amazing, why don't you open a restaurant? And then I heard once and then twice and then again, and I was like, really? Like people really want that I open a restaurant. So I was like, okay, I will do. I will open it. And I started to manifest it. I manifested it.
With Francesco as well? Or?
We were four.
Four people.
Three
right?
Italians and one Thai girl. I called a guy from Italy to help me because he was into fruitarianism much longer than me. He had more experience on preparing dishes. And so I called him and said, you want to help to open a restaurant in Thailand? He was okay, boom, he came. He helped me to prepare the menu and we opened.
So that was the first Fruitarian restaurant in Koh Phangan, probably one of the first in Thailand, I suppose.
Yeah, I think only in Italy we are doing this kind of, it's called carpotechnic cuisine.
Carpotechnic,
Yeah.
in Italian, yeah? No, technic is not Italian word.
Carpotecnia, it's in
Okay,
Italian.
okay.
In English should be like
A
carpotechnic.
carpo, what is carpo?
It's basically the art to create recipes from fruit.
Okay, okay, very nice, very interesting. I remember that was a very creative place in a yoga school that was thriving and growing very fast at the time. Now it's very established, Samakaruna. And it was an interesting period of Koh Phangan as well. I was very happy. I'm still am, of course, but there was lots of creativity. Still there is. I mean, you know, COVID put a bit of a break on everything, but now there's lots of creativity, lots of development again. And certainly you contributed to this landscape for sure, okay? So that's fun. So tell me now what type of fruitarian you are compared to the kind of like fruits that you were preparing and cooking at that time.
So basically, when I had a restaurant and I was preparing all of these dishes, I was the chef. I was cooking in the restaurant. At some point, I was like, it's too complicated. This is not the way it should be, you know. And I also, what is very important is that when I was doing the restaurant, I didn't know anything about detoxification because that's a big point that changed my life, like in the way I am now, and I'm eating fruit.
Okay.
So my business partner, the fruitarian guy, introduced me to Arnold Ehret, which is a doctor who basically wrote a very famous book, The Mucusless Healing System Diet.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
And so I read his book. I started to do the detox program that it's written on the book. And so then I was like, okay, this is not the way to do fruitarianism. If fruitarianism should be easy, should be simple, should be in a way that you eat a fruit and you are satisfied. The way I was doing it, combining stuff, too many ingredients, it was simply the same way that usually people cook, but with different ingredients, with fruit.
Okay.
So, and I was still spending time in the kitchen, washing the dishes. I don't have any of these things now. I just buy fruit, eat, clean, eat, and I'm done.
Oh.
I have so much time to do many more things.
So you introduced the detoxification aspect of fruitarianism, which is interesting because, of course, I eat fruit every day because I love it as part of like a sort of broader diet, yes?
Yeah.
But then you can focus on fruit only for 1 week, for instance, and use the sort of the fruit element, which is very high in hydration, is very high in vitamins, in minerals. Can be high in sugar, but there's very little else, and you can use it as a way to give your digestive system a little bit of space to rest and repair, because of course it's very easy to digest fruit, and particularly if you have a very toxic diet, you're very overweight, etc. By maybe doing 1 week or 10 days of fruit only, considering also that you're gonna go to the toilet quite a bit because the fruit makes you go, for sure.
It's
Very stimulating, yeah. So you don't need to do any enemas or colimas, etc. I mean, you can if you want to, but you could. Some people use fruit as a vehicle for detoxification. So this is one aspect of it. The other aspect is more of a lifestyle, like you have, the fruitarian lifestyle. Why do you eat fruit all the time and fruit only, post the detoxification?
Yeah, because when I had the experience of doing this diet, I just felt the best. I tried all the range of diets, from vegan to fruitarian, and for me the fruitarian is the one that gives me the highest in any aspects of my life.
Okay.
With mentality, physicality, energy. It's just another level for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a spiritual component to this?
Obviously, yeah, also.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit more about that one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when you have this kind of diet, you become very sensitive, very sensible. At the beginning, as I told you, I changed my diet because of a health problem. I was not really concerned about the ethical aspect, you know. But that came later. When I started to be more sensitive, I started to feel more love in general for all the beings, animals. So for me, it was impossible to eat animals anymore. And that sensitivity, when you are on fruit, becomes even more refined. And you just become sensitive. But when then I tried to go back again because I did some like back and forth for a while. When I was eating vegetables again, the difference was very clear, you know, more heavier, more, just different. Less, clarity in my mind. So it comes naturally, you know. You start to feel that you are more a spiritual being. It just comes naturally. And I use also fastings and detoxification to grow spiritually, because you can have very interesting experiences.
Because of course, you know, there are a few people in Koh Phangan. I interviewed Annabella very recently. Was your friend, I suppose, yeah. And there are a few people in Koh Phangan, but this sort of lifestyle is quite sort of a small group of people.
It's not easy to eat only fruit in the way, I mean, we do, just eating very simple mono fruit. It's not easy because simply when you eat fruit, the fruit will put the body in a very deep detoxification state. So if people didn't do a transition, if they didn't detoxify the body before to get to fruit, they can experience sometime a really strong detox
side effects,
symptoms, very strong. Some people
healing crisis,
like depending on the state that you are at when you do it, it can be really strong if you come from, let's say, omnivore diet. I don't suggest anyone to jump on fruit. It's very dangerous.
Okay. I have a couple more questions about the way you eat, right? So first of all, can you tell us what is a typical day? So you get up in the morning and...
Wake up in the morning, well, I do my meditation and stuff. First thing I drink, it's fruit juice in the morning, so no solid food. Mostly I drink pineapple. I just love pineapple a lot.
All right.
If not, can be dragon fruit juice, can be melon juice in general. And then I have fruit for lunch. I mostly water content fruit. So watermelon, papaya, mango. In Thailand we have so
many fruits.
And I always go for a seasonal fruit. So mango, for example, I eat it only in April, May, because it's the season and it's very sweet. Out of season is not sweet. So for example, now in Thailand we have mangosteen, we have longan, rambutan. So all of this water content fruit. So I eat one type, maximum two, but usually one.
Monofruit.
Mono meal basically.
Okay, and I mean now is still the season of durian, which is not water-based. It's
very fat.
You don't do durian at all, yeah?
No.
Okay.
No, and then dinner the same. Basically, can be the same fruit that I had for lunch, or it can be another fruit.
Okay. It's of course it's a very interesting way of sort of having a lifestyle, because you said it's not just a diet; it's more of a lifestyle. You know,
Absolutely.
that you become more sensitive, more connected with some elements of yourself, mind clarity you're talking about, etc. And it's quite a niche thing, obviously. You might have people sort of like asking you or criticizing this way of living with regards to, you know, lack of nutrients, for instance, you know.
Yeah.
What is your answer to that? The fact that you have very little protein, that you have very little fat.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big topic, you know. We can have a very long talk about this, but I don't believe that the human body works as a replacement. The body doesn't need protein to have protein. Doesn't need fat to have fat. It's like if this was the way that the body works, then the woman needs to drink milk to produce milk. It doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So the body works in a transformation. The body transforms glucose into everything the body needs. It's the same for a cow. The cow or the herbivores, elephants, they eat grass and they make a big and huge body from that. That's it. They don't go and, oh, where can I find proteins? Where can I find minerals? They just eat one type of grass all their life. Okay. And they become huge. And same is the human body. We don't need to go and find but just look at the nature. When I want answer, I just look at the nature.
Okay.
The nature gives me all the answers. If I want to know something, okay, I go and look. I do. You just look, just watch, and then you understand the truth. It's in front of us, in the nature.
Very nice. And I know at least 5-6 people in Koh Phangan that are mostly, I'll say, fruitarian. I don't know if they're fruitarian all the time. You meet them in the juice spots in Sritanu, and I think maybe I'll interview a couple more, but it's certainly a very interesting group of people here. And do you have, there are, you know, people with this kind of lifestyle? Definitely we talk about Annabella, but there's some other people on the island, right? We went to a vegan meetup recently in Shivari, maybe a month ago, and there were at least 3-4 people that were fruitarian.
Yeah, but not really. They do periods of fruit.
Okay.
The point is that I know these people, I met these people, I talked with them, and I remember myself when I was doing it, I couldn't do it for a long period of time because my body wasn't ready enough. It's not easy for the body to sustain a fruit diet if it doesn't reach a certain level of detoxification. Okay. It's very difficult. It's almost impossible. I tried 3-4 times. After a month, I had to go back because I had a really strong detox symptoms and I couldn't continue. I had to slow down. So going back to vegetables, the detox slows.
You know, there was a sort of a retreat or a gathering of breatharians in Samakaruna before 3-4 years ago. You remember?
Yeah.
Yes. So what do you think of breatharianism? Just last questions on the topic.
Yeah. Even in Italy, every year they do the Breatharian World Festival.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know about that? It's in center of Italy, in Abruzzo, I think. And I went one year to listen to the people, explore. Yeah. For me, totally.
I think one of the concepts of breatharianism is even a smaller niche, if you want, but they're very interesting people for sure to talk to and to meet, is that you can get lots of energy from the sun directly, is that right?
Yeah, but actually from the air, from the life force energy, which is all around us. It's simply if you think about the main nutrient for the body is what we breathe. If you stop breathing for oxygen, you just die in a few minutes. Yeah. If you stop eating for 50 days, you still survive. Food is just a habit. It's not really a body needs.
Okay.
There are people who doesn't eat at all. There is a documentary called Living on Light, and so if you watch the documentary, you can see there are people who didn't eat for almost their whole life. No eating, no drinking. They've been tested from some doctors to really see if that's true. Like they've been There is like an Indian guy, he stayed in a room for like a week. He was very super monitored with cameras to check if he wasn't eating anything. And he was not eating, he was not drinking, he was not pooping, he was not peeing.
Okay. Well, it must be a high-level yogi for sure, you know, like one of these Indian mystics from the Himalayas.
Probably.
Probably. Okay. Well, that's all very interesting. Thank you very much for sharing your life choice and your lifestyle, you know, it's certainly appreciated. I would like now to ask you our final question. Of course, you've been here 7.5 years now. You gotta love Koh Phangan, right?
So much.
Why do you like it so much?
Koh Phangan, I love it. You know, Koh Phangan, when I don't know, it was such a strong feeling. When I came to Koh Phangan, as I stepped out from the ferry, I put the first foot on the land, I felt this is my place. You know, I just felt, I love this place already. Then I just went around. It feels just so free. It feels like you can be free. You can explore. You can just grow spiritually, mostly in this island, which is really well known for wellness and spiritual growth. So you have so many options that you can grow spiritually. You can
many things, including a Fruitarian community, indeed, and a bigger vegan community that is growing.
Very big, yeah.
Growing. I think a few more restaurants going to be opening soon. A vegan restaurant.
There are so many now.
Yeah. So it's certainly a thing on the island. Amongst, you know, a very diverse community. It's great, you know.
And people, like just people, you can find such amazing, lovely people from anywhere in the world, and they have such an interesting background story. You can find anything here, really, really everything. Even the complete opposite side of the coin, you know, parties and drugs and. It's like everything here.
The yin and the yang.
The yin and the yang.
Yes, from the cleanest fruitarian to the opposite the party reveler.
Everything is welcome.
On the other side.
Everything is welcome.
Why not?
Yeah.
Wow! Thank you very much again, Antonio, for coming here to Cholaclom today and, like, you know, telling us about Fruitarianism. Kapumka.
Namaste.
Thank you.